by honorable members. Having said that, I now call upon the Deputy President to respond to question number 13, which is asked by Honorable Muimang. You may take the podium, Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I want to thank Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Muimang, for bringing up this issue of coordinated three-sphere planning to address the collapse of service delivery through the implementation of the district development model. Honorable Chairperson, allow me to provide a response that would demonstrate our approach to the implementation of the DDM by employing the whole of government approach to addressing difficulties related to service delivery. On the 6th of June this year, we launched the Clean Cities campaign, Cities and Towns campaign, and we did this in Kliptown in Soweto in collaboration with SALGA, Gauteng Provincial Government, the Department of Cooperative Governments and Traditional Affairs, Department of Environment, and of course, the City of Johannesburg. The Clean Cities and Towns campaign connects with the DDM by implementing the DDM's concept of collaboration and integrated service delivery. It is a nationwide initiative aimed at fostering cleaner, greener, and more inclusive urban spaces, whilst advancing sustainability, equality, and solidarity amongst all citizens. This campaign provides us with an opportunity to interact with communities at local level as part of our efforts to address service delivery challenges, utilizing a whole of government approach. Honorable Chairperson, since the launch of this campaign, we have visited Mangaung Metro in the Free State, Mashatile local municipality in the Northwest. We have also conducted an oversight visit in the Western Cape's Overberg district to advance our land reform program and promote community development. On the 6th of September, I requested Minister Patricia de Lille in her capacity as the DDM champion in the Western Cape to lead the Clean Cities and Towns campaign at Zwelihle Township in Overstrand local municipality. Through the participation of relevant national ministers, deputy ministers, premiers, MECs, and all DDM champions in the Clean Cities and Towns campaign, we can pull together all relevant stakeholders to report on progress whilst we interact with communities to understand their service delivery challenges. We encourage municipalities and cities themselves all over the county to conduct their own cleaning campaigns, promote citizen participation, and partner with local business to address community concerns while promoting cleaner, safer, and healthier environment. In addition, on the 19th August, I visited the Eastern Cape where I had engagement with His Majesty King Ndlovuezwe Ndamase of Amampondo Asenyande. This forms part of our government holistic approach to service delivery that is inclusive, culturally sensitive, and responsive to the diverse needs of our communities. Lastly, Honorable Chairperson, on the 18th of September, together with Minister of Public Works, I will have an opportunity to engage with their MINMEC. The focus on reforming the local government funding revenue, collected model, professional municipal management, and enforcing minimum competency requires for senior officials will be the matter that we focus on. By utilizing this approach, we will continue to bring together all spheres of government to strengthen collaborative and localized planning to address service delivery challenges. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President, for the response. I'm now requesting Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Mimang, to ask the supplementary question.
Thank you, the Chairperson of the National Council of Province, and greetings to yourself and also esteemed members and our esteemed Deputy President. Let me start by appreciating the detailed response that the Deputy President has given. And indeed, the response captures that indeed a greater part of the solution to strengthening the state of our municipalities is much more informed by paying much more attention on those municipalities that are not doing quite well, and the management thereof is found to be limping. And this mainly is informed by the sometimes weaknesses on the part of political parties in not sending the good caliber of councillors that are much more having the necessary skills to do the work. Now, my question, Deputy President, is what measures is government putting in place to work in partnership with political parties and all the relevant stakeholders to implement strict mechanisms and systems that will enhance the DDM interventions by ensuring that political parties put forward people who are appropriately skilled and qualified? And I'm happy to indicate to the Deputy President that this House, this coming week, we will be having our local government week in the province of Western Cape as part and parcel of buttressing the effort that the Deputy President is leading. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Muimang. Over to you, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Muimang. Indeed, the success of the district development model requires collaboration, coordination by all three spheres of government, particularly in the period where most of municipalities have coalition governments. It's important that we strengthen this coordinated approach. Honorable Muimang, you'll recall that in 2023, I convened a national dialogue here in the Western Cape, at the University of the Western Cape, where we brought various players from national, provincial, and local government to discuss how best we can work together to ensure a coordinated approach to service delivery. We know that at local government level, we have the Municipal Structures Act and other mechanisms, but the interface with provincial and national government is the one where we saw glaring weaknesses. As a result, in that dialogue, it was agreed that it's important that we close the gap, make sure that there is much stringent coordination in terms of how we provide services. That will avoid a situation where we work in parallel or we duplicate services. There are instances where even at the national level, ministers of the national government will have programs in a particular province but not coordinated. And therefore, this intervention was to ensure that we deal with that weakness and make sure that there is stronger coordination. We have observed that since that time, our DDM approach has been improving the way we do service delivery into provinces. Whenever I visit these areas, as I've mentioned earlier, I'm accompanied by ministers, premiers, in most cases also MECs and executive mayors. And that's the approach that we are going to continue to use to strengthen our DDM approach. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
No, thank you very much, Deputy President. We are now taking a follow-up question from Honorable Badenhorst.
Deputy President, good day. Deputy President, 76% of municipalities are in financial distress, mostly due to poor management. Why is cadre deployment still the organizing principle of local government appointments instead of professionalization on merit, like the DA proposes? Thank you.
Over to you, Honorable Deputy Minister.
It is true, Honorable Chairperson, that a number of our municipalities are in dire straits. Some of them are not able to provide basic services that they should. We have taken a decision as National Cabinet that the Minister for Local Government should focus on that problem. And the Minister and the Deputy Ministers of Local Government have been to many of these municipalities and are intervening. We have seen improvement in a number of them. There are a number of issues that make a municipality not to be very effective. One could be skills, as Honorable Badenhorst is saying that maybe we do deploy people without skills. I want to assure you that from my party, we don't do that. I know that when people hear the word cadre development, they think it's jobs for pals. That's not the case. Cadre development means you train your members adequately for the task ahead, and therefore you deploy them accordingly in line with the skills that they have acquired. So meritocracy is not new to the ANC. In fact, it has always been our guiding principle. But you do find a situation where at the local level, because sometimes we have no choice on who comes in from a ward as a ward councillor, because we involve communities. And sometimes communities do elect people who, once they get there, are struggling in performing their duties. But when it comes to the executive, like your mayors and so on, from my party, they get interviewed, and I'm sure some of the honorable members sitting here who have been mayors can testify to that. They get interviewed properly, and once that process has been completed, he or she who has gone through that process will then her name will be taken forward to be considered to be the mayor. It also goes for the officials in the municipality, your city managers and so on. There's a very rigorous process. So I have no doubt, Honorable Badenhorst, that our intervention is going to improve things at local government level. It is a priority for us because local government is closer to the people, and therefore we want to ensure that those municipalities work effectively. And we have said to the Minister of Local Government, where you find that municipalities are appointing people who without requisite skills, you must intervene. and those people must be removed. So we are not going to experiment with structures that must serve our communities by putting people who don't have the requisite skills. So rest assured that the intervention is there and it is working. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We're now proceeding to the next follow-up question, which shall be asked by Honorable Siwisa, EFF.
No, thank you, Chairperson. Greetings, Deputy President. Deputy President, the main reason why there is a collapse in service delivery is due to lack of proper coordination between the three spheres, which has led to a duplication of work, inefficient use of resources, and left a loophole for the lack of accountability. This model was introduced in the sixth administration, and since its introduction, there have been more cases of corruption and collapse of municipalities. Were they taken into consideration? Why was there no proper coordination from the beginning between the three spheres, and what was the purpose of introducing the district development model? Thank you very much.
Over to you, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you, Honorable Siwisa, for that follow-up. Yes, we have noticed ourselves that there have been some challenges in the initial stages where people were appointed in some of the municipalities without requisite skills or proper training, and that's why we started intervening. For instance, this idea of interviewing mayors is not something that we started right from the beginning. We introduced it in maybe the last two terms when we realized that it's not enough just to have a democratic process and say communities will nominate councillors. We will nominate councillors through our branches. We felt there's a need for an intervention, which we have now done. So I agree with you that perhaps it's something that should have been done much earlier, but it has been done. And remember, these interviews for people who become executive mayors and district mayors is done at a higher level by the provincial structures. In fact, for the metropolitan municipalities, those interviews are done by the national officials of the ANC, led by the president. So it shows how serious we take this matter. The people who become mayors there, they come before the president for interview with the other officials of the ANC. So, Honorable Siwisa, yes, we could have intervened much earlier, but it's never too late to mend. So we are now intervening. And as I said, we can begin to see progress. In some of the areas, we do, of course, intervene to an extent where we dissolve a municipality. We have done it in some areas where we realize that just changing people here doesn't work. But the problem, of course, is that in some of the communities, when we do that and we create an opportunity for new elections, the communities bring the same people. We've experienced that, you know, Boditsobotla and other areas where we have had this problem where the minister will dissolve a council, give a particular period required by the law for new elections to be held, and then communities nominate the same people who were in that municipality. We will have to find a way on how we deal with that. But when it comes to actual dereliction of duty or people involved in irregularities, disciplinary measures are being imposed to ensure that people can actually be removed and not even be allowed to once again go and contest elections. So we are attending to this matter, and as I said, we are beginning to see progress. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The last follow-up question on this question is being asked by Honorable Nzimande.
No, thanks, Chair, and good afternoon, Deputy President. We hear that you are saying COGTA Minister has been asked to focus on the challenges of municipalities, but these challenges have been recurring, including the institutional capabilities, water infrastructure, and greatly the service delivery. The question which the citizenry will expect you to answer is are the preventative measures or different interventions not previously tested that the government will apply to address these challenges? And if they exist, why such were not built in or find expression in the plans that were submitted in the Sokas House? Because COGTA Minister also indicated that through the budget vote, that the amount given to them, it's insufficient for them to deal with all these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. It is true that some problems have been recurring. The Minister of COGTA is not working alone, as I alluded in my initial answer. There is coordination with other ministers, for instance, the Minister of Finance, or let me say Treasury itself, working with COGTA MECs in provinces to be able to have a comprehensive intervention. Because what we want to avoid is exactly that problem, that problems recur, they keep coming back. So we have asked the minister to ensure that the intervention should be very comprehensive. Where there's a challenge of skills, we must deal with that. In some municipalities, you also find that there's a problem of economic base. So some municipalities don't have a proper economic base. So as a result, they struggle with revenue. Because the theory of independent local government in South Africa was premised on the fact that they are able to collect rates and taxes. So when we do a division of revenue as a national government, we do it in that context, that money must be divided between national government, provincial, but local government gets a minuscule portion of that because it is believed that they can collect revenue. Now, we found that that is not real in most areas. Those municipalities are not able to collect, not only because of corruption or irregularities, but simply because there are no industries in that particular area who are paying rates and taxes. And when it comes to households, you find that there are a lot of poor people in some of these municipalities, some of them unemployed in informal settlements. They don't pay for water, for electricity, and so on. So municipalities are having it tough out there to be able to survive on their own. So we are relooking at our model at the moment to see how do we intervene in such situations. The metros are a bit better. You will see, in fact, that the bigger metros are beginning to get much better because most of them have industries in their areas of jurisdiction. They collect revenue and they are able to address services. But we are with the intervention by the Minister of COGTA to ensure that these problems must not recur. Once we say we are intervening, we are prioritizing local government, we are sorting out the problems, let's make sure that that is the case. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We are now proceeding to question number 14. It's with regards to municipalities that are owing the water boards. The question has been asked by Honorable Skier Kochel from Free State, a DA member. Over to you, Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Let me thank Honorable Skier Kochel for raising this important matter. On the 8th of April this year, the Department of COGTA and the Department of Water and Sanitation briefed the water task team on the performance of water services authorities and presented the status of municipal debt to the water boards. Honorable members will remember that the President established this water task team, which I currently chairs. So they gave a very extensive report. As of June 2025, the collective debt owed to water boards across the country stands at 25.1 billion. So Honorable Skier Kochel is not far from it at 25.6. And to address this challenge, Honorable Chairperson, the Ministry of Water and Sanitation has made a call to all affected municipalities to make regular payments on current accounts for undisputed debts. There are instances where municipalities will dispute the debts, but we said where there are no disputes, they must pay immediately. But also they must ring-fence those disputed amounts so they can then be looked at. And then lastly, enter into structural payment agreements for historic debt, because we know they can't pay everything immediately. In addition, National Treasury has agreed to withhold equitable share transfers to worst performing municipalities in terms of non-payment to water boards. And this has been done at the request of the Department of Water and Sanitation. So if the municipality does not pay water boards, National Treasury will then top slice funds that would otherwise have to be transferred to that municipality to be able to pay the water boards. The equitable share, as I said, is withheld and it will then, this will be done in tranches on a quarterly basis. And once the situation improved, it will then be released proportionally as municipalities make their payments to the board. The implementation of this mechanism began last year, December, and is in progress for municipalities that are failing to comply with the payment obligations to water boards. These measures have already begun to show some level of improvement in the financial sustainability of municipalities across the country. In addition, Chairperson, the Minister of Water and Sanitation has announced that Mangaung, Johannesburg, and Tshwane metropolitan municipalities have already managed to pay off debts to the water boards. This improvement is commendable and must be replicated by other municipalities. And as I said earlier, these are metros, but would like to see this replicated throughout by other municipalities to make payments for water services. Chairperson, as we continue to implement measures against non-compliant municipalities, we will turn the tide of rising debt and move closer to improving the delivery of water and sanitation services to all South African citizens. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. May I request Honorable Skierkogel to ask a supplementary question?
Thank you, Chairperson. Deputy President, this is not just financial mismanagement, it's a criminal neglect. And our constitution is created in such a way that the free spheres of government hold each other accountable. Now, do you not agree that the problem is deep-rooted within the relevant provinces that allow local government to collapse because they do not provide the support as the Constitution provides, Section 154, the MFMA, and relevant other legislative mandate, and the failed step-aside rule for political leadership, like in my own municipality in the Free State? So, therefore, what consequent management action steps would you implement to provinces that keep on failing to ensure that local government provide basic services? Thank you.
Over to you, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Skierkogel, as I said earlier, the Minister of Local Government has been tasked by Cabinet to intervene in all areas where we have challenges. We are aware of the challenges in the Free State. I myself has been to the Free State. We have asked the minister to intervene. So we have isolated a number of municipalities that, in our view, are collapsing for intervention. You are quite right that the Constitution itself does require national government to provide support, particularly through MECs for COCTA in provinces. It is their responsibilities to ensure that they intervene, support municipalities. And that's the reason why the Minister of COCTA is there, is to ensure that we actually do intervene. Because we know that if those municipalities can't do their work, the people who suffer are the residents. So that intervention is happening. The minister will be reporting to Cabinet shortly and give a comprehensive report on the measures that they are implementing. They have been to many areas in the country already. So it's something that is already happening. So we don't want to come back here and you say we have neglected to intervene. We are intervening. And I'm sure next time the minister is here, we'll be able to give this House a comprehensive report of all those interventions to ensure that all our municipalities are actually running efficiently, providing services efficiently, and making sure that we serve our communities well. So we are intervening. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is asked by Honorable Finis from the ANC.
Thank you, Chairperson. Through you, Chairperson. Deputy President, the mounting municipal debt that is owed to water boards, coupled with poor financial management systems, severely impacts the financial stability and the ability of water boards to properly maintain existing water infrastructure and also build new water infrastructure projects for sustainable bulk water supply to communities. Has the national government looked at engaging with municipal officials, premiers and MECs to COCTA and finance to secure firm commitments to address the municipal debt to water boards and also devise new financial payment systems to improve their revenue collection capacity? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Over to you, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Finis, yes, that has been done. The Minister of Water and Sanitation has already met with most of these municipalities. Those engagements are continuing. As I said, we have now begun to see improvements, starting with the metros that I've mentioned of Johannesburg, Mangaung, and Tshwane, and we want to ensure that that is replicated. So those discussions are taking off. Of course, we've also found out, Honorable Fini, that one of the challenges in the municipalities when it comes to water is also a problem of leakages, what we call non-revenue water. In fact, if you talk to the Minister of Water and Sanitation, she'll tell you that we don't have a challenge with bulk water supply. The biggest challenge is reticulation. And it's because of those problems. Yes, some of them in the previous years could have been because of the problem of poor financial management, but there's also a reality that municipalities lose water to the extent that if my figure is correct, that some of them lose up to 40% of that revenue because of the leakages. And that, of course, as the minister said, in some areas has to do with old infrastructure that needs to be repaired. And as long as municipalities lose a lot of water, it means they must make do with 60% of the revenue that they need to fix the pipes and do everything else. But the minister is meeting with all of them. Where there are culprits that withheld payments, that's where we came up with this idea with Treasury that we will top slice their budget so that we don't bankrupt the water services boards. So those interventions are happening and are going to be closely monitored. There will be a regular report to Cabinet by the Ministers of Water and Water and Sanitation to ensure that Cabinet can see what improvements are we making with regard to water, because water is very critical for development, and we want to make sure it's not wasted through leakages because of not fixing infrastructure. But financial management, yes, we are also improving on that. We've asked the Minister of Water to ensure that municipalities should appoint people who have the skills to manage these facilities and make sure that payments are made regularly for water services. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. I'm now inviting Honorable Keza to ask a follow-up question to the Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Deputy President, we are quite appalled by the debt owed by municipalities to South African Water Board, as the debt poses a risk to critical services to communities. As the EFF, we are of the firm belief that the non-payment of debt by municipalities is yet another coordinated attempt to collapse state capacity to provide water, in order to allow the private sector to intervene under the guise of preventing a crisis. Essentially, it seems as though the private sector and Treasury are orchestrating the water crisis in South Africa at the expense of the ordinary citizens. What immediate measures or accountability frameworks have you put in place to recover the debt owed to water boards across South Africa, which does not include the use of punitive measures such as cutting budget allocations to municipalities? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Keza. Over to you, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. The Honorable Keza, some of the interventions I meant earlier, I meant exactly to do that. We don't want to be punitive, but where we realize that municipalities are not paying water boards and yet they are collecting revenue, that's where that measure is being used to top slice their budget. But we are looking at mechanisms to look at the problem holistically, because as I said, it don't make sense for us to go to a municipality, they say in Mangaung, and top slice their budget when in fact there's a bigger problem of infrastructure, old pipes and all that. So our intervention is going to be very comprehensive to ensure that we don't be seen as punitive, but deal with the real problems that municipalities are facing. These are very serious problems that have occurred over years. And as I said, we're also looking at our model of local government. In the past, there's been an argument that we need to have many municipalities so that they are closer to communities. But sometimes if you look at it, you'll find that you don't actually need to go that route. You can club some of municipalities together, particularly the smaller ones, so that you give them capacity to be able to work together to have the capacity to intervene with resources. So yes, we will look into that to ensure that people are not punished unduly by ensuring that we are holistic in our intervention when dealing with this challenge. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The last follow-up question on this question is being asked by Honorable Peter. Over to you then.
Evening, Honorable Deputy President. The Amatola Water Board, which supply bulk water to most municipalities in the Eastern Cape, is on the brink of collapse. It failures and mirrors the national crisis of 25.6 billion owned by municipalities to water boards. When I raised this question on water collapse in Komakoma and Makanda on the 29 May 2025, when you were last at this House, Honorable Deputy President, you took to push for urgent intervention through the relevant minister and your team in the presidency. May I therefore ask what concrete steps have been taken since to stabilize this issue and the Amatola Water Board in particular? Thank you.
Over to you, Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I have been to the Eastern Cape a number of times. In fact, the past week when I was there, 2 weeks ago, I had a long discussion with the Premier about various challenges, not just water, including roads. Those who come from the Eastern Cape will know that there is a serious challenge of roads there. Although Central is busy with some of the provincial roads, which is a decision they agreed on with the province. But you are quite right, with water, it remains a big challenge. We will be going back there with the Minister of Water Affairs to see how we can assist, because when it comes to rural areas, the challenge is even bigger than the cities, to be able to lay out proper infrastructure and so on. And the Premier has made a plea in his discussion with me that they do need assistance from national government. They are doing their best to intervene. So I have raised this matter with the relevant ministers, and we will be going back. We're going to try and assist them. Remember, constitutionally, water services, are located at municipalities, and that's what the challenge is. But we have now decided that let's see how we assist from national government through the intervention of the minister. We have pushed now for bulk water to reach all areas, but reticulation remains a challenge. I will follow up this matter again with the Premier, and we'll be able to give you a detailed report. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President, we are now proceeding, honorable delegates, to question number 15 that has been asked by Honorable Mulukume to the Deputy President with regards to the recently released Stats SA report that spoke about the increased unemployment rate. Over to you, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Mulukume, the rate of unemployment in our country is indeed a concern to all of us. As such, government is currently implementing several collaborative initiatives, particularly to address youth unemployment by improving labor market function through skills training, work experience, entrepreneurship support, and also wage subsidies. Furthermore, government is utilizing labor-intensive programs like the Expanded Public Works Program, EPWP, also public employment programs, PEPs, and community work programs, CWP. This is to ensure that we provide temporary employment and income support, especially to unemployed young people in sectors like infrastructure, environment, and social services. To this end, Cabinet approved Phase 5 of the Expanded Public Works Program. This was done in February last year, which aims to create 5 million work opportunities between April 2024 to March 2029, with an estimated budget projected to be 178 billion rand in that period of 5 years. This program, Chairperson, aims to address youth unemployment by offering young people access to work opportunities through the massification of projects like the maintenance of roads, including pothole patching, public infrastructure development, cleaning and beautification of public spaces, waste management, and social services. Honorable Chairperson, through the Human Resource Development Council, the HRDC, which I lead, government is collaborating with social partners. This includes business, labor, and civil society. In that council, we have been working to develop and execute a collective response to youth unemployment. In this regard, through the National Skills Development Plan and the National Skills Fund, government is collaborating with these social partners, as I've mentioned, but also we bring in educational institutions to equip youth and particularly marginalized groups with market-relevant skills and facilitate job initiatives. Because often you find young people come out of colleges and universities, but still they can't get jobs because the market demands the skills that they were not trained for. So this year, in August, last month, I addressed the official launch of the Jet Skills Desk, the National Jet Skills Advisory Forum, and the multi-donor initiative at Gallagher Convention in Johannesburg. These joint initiatives are aimed to providing leadership and coordination for a demand-driven skills development agenda, empowering disadvantaged and marginalized groups to participate, particularly in the green economy, through employment and entrepreneurship. Moreover, the Department of Women, Youth, People with Disabilities, in collaboration with the Ministry of Defense, have launched the National Youth Service Program, which we did last year. This program is also empowering young people, women, and people with disabilities. Chairperson, in conclusion, as government, we are committed to transition from fragmented responses to an integrated national program that integrates skills development, economic opportunity, take into account workplace experience, entrepreneur support, soft skills, and civic education to foster the resilience and adaptability. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. I'm now calling upon Honorable Mulukume to ask a supplementary question.
Re go leboe modulasetulo ke dumediše le motlatša president ke be ke leboe le karabo eo re fileng yona DP. Let me take this opportunity to express appreciation to the progress that the government is making through programs such as the Youth Employment Service programs, which creates apprenticeship and internship to invest in skills development via training and mentorship. The YES program has also shown us that the private sector has the critical role to play, both in terms of creating formal economic jobs for youth, as well as for creating self-enterprise opportunities for youth entrepreneurs. My question, DP, is, has the government undertaken a comprehensive audit of the performance of all youth entrepreneurship programs in the country, and whether the government would establish a mechanism to coordinate the various public and private sector youth empowerment and also the entrepreneurship programs? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mulukume. Over to you, Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you, Honorable Mulukume. Yes, indeed, we are integrating our programs. The programs that you talk about, the youth employment initiatives, the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative and other programs are being integrated, and we do bring the private sector on board as well. We drive some of them, of course, from the presidency. And you can see that our biggest focus is on young people. If we look at the increment or the increase in unemployment statistics, you would find that the majority of those affected are the youth. So we have taken the deliberate steps to ensure that we introduce a number of employment programs that target young people, ensure that we provide skills, we provide entrepreneurial opportunities, and also business opportunities, not only through government departments at all levels, but also in the private sector. So yes, we are integrating, pulling this together, and we work very well with young people. Some of these programs are run by young people themselves. If you go and see the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative is run by young people and has already benefited more than 1 million young people who have come on board and are now having opportunities to various initiatives. What we're trying to do is to instill in our young people that they must not have a mentality of the past. You know, you all remember, honorable members in the past would wake up, it's your market, we're all going to look for jobs. We want young people to be the creators of employment. That's what we want them to do. So by equipping them with skills, and particularly entrepreneurial skills, they are able to employ other young people as well. And I think we must do more of that, where our young people must not be like us. You know, when people wake up every day and go and wait, looking for jobs, they must be assisted to be creative and come up with initiatives that will help us in addressing this big challenge of youth unemployment. So my answer is yes, we are integrating this initiative. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. I'm now inviting Honorable Swart to make a follow-up question.
Honorable Chairperson, and good afternoon, Deputy President. With the high rate of unemployment at 33.2%, the country is past due for a review of the failed policies of your party over the past 30 years. Why does government persist with job-killing policies like BBBEE and bargaining council restrictions when the DA show that the scrapping of these in favor of targeted non-racial SDT-based empowerment would actually open up opportunities for SMMEs and to create the much-needed jobs? Must we as South Africans wait for another expensive talk shop instead of urgent reform taking place in our country? Thank you.
Over to you, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Swart, the BBBEE is not a failed policy. In fact, I think it must be implemented more rigorously, because you see the BBBEE policy deals with the empowerment of those who have been disadvantaged in the past. It is not correct there where in the country where Black people are probably 90% of the population, but 70% is controlled by others. It can't be allowed. It will never be allowed. We have to come with policies to change that. Anybody who says we must scrap that, it means we must go back to apartheid. You basically say, leave the economy in the hands of whites. And that's how this country is going to work. It will never be allowed. Black people must be empowered by this policy of BBBEE. And we have seen, honorable members, that it does work. There are many companies run by Black people that are very successful. In fact, Honorable Gwede Mantashe was saying, the Minister of Minerals this morning, that most of the companies now operating in the mining industry, in the coal industry, are Black companies. And those people were empowered by these progressive policies of our government. We must continue to do so. It is not this policy that is bringing high unemployment. It's conditions of the current geopolitical situation as well. Unemployment is not a problem only of South Africa. It is there throughout the country. When the global economy is not doing well, it affects us here. So we must look at this holistically, but I will not agree with anyone who says Black people don't need to be empowered. We will never agree to that. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Order, Honorable Skierkochel. Order, please. Order, Honorable Skierkochel. Thank you very much, Deputy President. We are now proceeding to Honorable Siwisa.
No, thank you, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity again. Deputy President, I'm a bit scared about what you just said, that it means that parents that are paying for their children to be in university is a fruitless expenditure. Anyway, DP, we should not be talking about temporary employment like EPWP, CPWP. Those are temporary jobs that could not even allow for a long-term loan or build a dream house or has no benefits. Many graduates are sitting at home. There is no rural development, no industrial expansion to create jobs. With the Western Cape, KZN, and Northern Cape being the most affected, what plans do you have to stimulate the growth in these struggling provinces? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Suisa, I didn't say that what our children learn in universities and colleges is useless. The point I was making is that our children, our young people, when they choose courses at universities and colleges, sometimes they choose courses that when they graduate, those degrees or diplomas don't give them access to immediate employment because there is a mismatch with the demand of the market. What we are trying to do in the HRDC is to engage various social partners, including institutions of higher learning, to channel a lot of our young people to go for these courses where there's high demand in the market, so that we don't have unemployed graduates. There's a lot of demand, for instance, in the mining industry for engineers of various sorts, but you find that many young people who come off the schooling system don't go in that field of study. So it's really something that we need to fix as a country, because you will see that in certain sectors of our economy, there are still a lot of adverts for jobs. But then young people have different qualifications. So yes, we mustn't say that it's a fruitless expenditure. I think it's good that people can, learn anything they want to learn. But I think let's help guide young people to say, try these fields as well. That's where the jobs are. Let's help them, because otherwise we have won on the issue of experience. For instance, with many private companies, we do say to them, don't demand too much experience from young people who are coming out of college and universities, but still they would look at the courses that these students are studying. I've discussed this matter a lot with the ministers of basic education and higher education, because they sit in the HRDC. In fact, when Minister Nzimande was going with me in KZN, we visited a lot of TVET colleges at the time, and we're encouraging young people. If you look at the interest of young people is to go to a university, not a TVET college. They don't think a TVET college is the right place to go. And yet the demand in the market want the skills from there. And really, that's really the point I was trying to make, that sometimes young people are not employable because they are not studying these courses. Many people don't want to do bricklaying or welding and so on. And these are huge demands in the market for opportunities for young people. But we'll continue to engage in the HRDC to look at how do we push young people to go into this relevant field of study. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from Honorable Priet.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Chairperson, Honourable Deputy President, I think that it is a very populist propaganda to say that if we do away with racial-based legislation, apartheid will return. And I would like to warn against making such populist statements in this House. But Chairperson, let me get to my question. Honourable Deputy President, if broad-based Black economic empowerment in that form has been around for 20 years and racial-based legislation has been around for 30 years, and yet our unemployment has only worsened, How can government continue to claim that more of the same racial policies will solve our crisis of unemployment instead of pursuing merit-based systems that attract investment and benefits all of South Africans? I thank you.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable van der Berg, triple BEE is not a racial policy. It's a transformative legislation. You see, I spent more than 40 years of my life fighting apartheid. I'm not going to allow it to come back. Not by any form. I am here where I am because I want to empower Black people. They were oppressed. And today they don't even control the economy. I don't hate white people. I like them. Many of them are my friends. But we must share this wealth. We want the Africans in particular to run businesses, to be funded. It's not racism. It's transformation. And that's really what we must do. We are not going to back off. Otherwise, we shouldn't be here. What are we doing here if we are not going to empower those who were previously disadvantaged? It's not racial legislation. In fact, we need more of this kind of legislation. I don't think we have enough of it. Many people have been waiting. Let's make sure that we use this legislation properly. We are not discriminating. We are empowering. That's what we are doing. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President, which then takes us to question number 16 that has been asked by Honorable Peza, who's standing in for Honorable Makesini. The question is in relation to the support and the empowerment of our NPOs, particularly from the locations that have ceased to receive the foreign assistance on HIV AIDS programs. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. And let me thank Honorable Keza on behalf of Honorable Makasini. In response to the perceived challenges of the withdrawal of US funding on HIV/AIDS programs, government has moved swiftly to mitigate the negative impact of the President Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, which is called PEFA, to move in for this withdrawal. These measures include the implementation of contingency plans by the national and provincial departments of health to ensure sustained delivery of health services, especially in 27 districts that were funded by PEFA. In this regard, Honorable Chairperson, the National Department of Health, together with provincial departments, conducted a review of the approved HIV and AIDS conditional grant business plan for 2025-2026 financial year to reprioritize to avoid service disruptions. Honorable members will have noticed that even though these cuts have come in, we have not cut services in this regard because we are reprioritizing and bringing resources from other programs. Furthermore, the Minister of Health has engaged the Minister of Finance to look into the possibility of funding these gaps from the fiscus. These engagements have paved the way for the National Department of Health to submit a request for funding to the National Treasury to assist in closing the gap left by US aid as it relates to supporting local nonprofit organizations involved in the implementation of HIV/AIDS, but also TB programs. To this end, the Department of Health subcontracted non-governmental organizations led by people living with HIV to support the implementation of what the minister calls Close the Gap HIV treatment campaign. This has been launched already. This campaign seeks to accelerate the enrollment of people living with HIV on treatment with a view of attaining the UN AIDS 95 targets by 2025. When delivering the Ministry of Health budget vote, Minister Motsoaledi announced that the National Treasury will allocate another 590 million rands to provinces to close the gap left by US aid withdrawal. Obviously, this is not enough, so the minister is continuing to engage with National Treasury for more resources. Provinces like Limpopo, Western Cape, Mpumalanga, Free State, and Gauteng are already using these funds to contract non-profit organizations to continue implementing our HIV, TB, and STIs interventions. As I've said, Honorable Chairperson, during the opening plenary of the 12th SA AIDS conference, our government will continue to pursue all funding interventions, including strengthening partnerships with the private sector to ensure that essential health services, including life-saving HIV treatment and prevention, continue to be provided to our communities. We believe, Chairperson, that together we can create a future where HIV/AIDS is no longer a threat, but a distant memory of our collective strength and determination. We are making sure that this cut in funding does not make us regress where we are now. So we're going to do everything in our power to ensure that we remain on course, including engaging other countries in the European Union, in the Eastern Bloc, and other countries, whilst we continue to engage the United States. Maybe one day Trump will see the light. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. I now request Honorable Keza to make a supplementary question.
No, thank you very much. I think, Deputy President, the only way that Trump will see the light is his end of term. At that level of psychiatric disorder, he cannot see it now. South Africa's fight, Deputy President, with HIV goes back decades and is being under threat as the US funding cuts are beginning to hit home. Cuts in US funding for HIV programs have already led to closures of local NGOs, declines in testing, HIV diagnosis, and treatment initiation activity, with the impact already felt amongst the country's most marginalized groups. Given that the goal to end HIV and AIDS as a public health by 2030 in a funding storm, what measures have you put in place to ensure that vulnerable groups still have reliable access to life-saving medication? Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Keza. Over to you, Minister. Deputy President, sorry.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Keza, we had a discussion with some colleagues recently, and we were saying, well, you know, it's another 4 years, you know, Trump will be gone, things will change. And someone said, well, you have not looked at his deputy who might come after him. He might be worse. So don't entertain this idea that in 4 years we will be fine, Trump will be gone. If Vance come in, I'm not sure if we will be better off. So we must prepare for the West. In fact, I think we need to take a decision as the country to say, should we really rely on them? I think we need to begin to say, can we do these things ourselves? As a country, as a continent. This thing of relying on other people is not sustainable. I think we must begin to reprioritize, take measures to ensure that we are sufficient and self-sustaining. I think we must begin to understand that we are really on our own. Whether it's Trump, it's Vance, I don't even know if the Democrats will be better. I think the continent must begin to say, how do we deal with our own development? How do we, the African continent has got minerals, and yet we are beggars. That can't be explained. So let's focus. Let's not be crybabies to Trump. Let's look at what we can do for ourselves. Honorable Keza, I did say earlier that the minister is working hard to try and find solutions, find resources, but we need to look at also innovative technologies. In the recent meeting of the South African AIDS Council, there were reports that even the kind of treatment people are receiving now is improving. Instead of people, taking tablets every day, they can take it once a month. Instead of collecting this treatment every month, now they can do it once in 6 months. So things will improve. And the cost of treatment might become cheaper as we get new drugs, new approach to treatment, but prevention remains key. But as I said, one of the challenges, Honorable Chairperson, is that with the second 95, that's where we're worried about treatment. There are a lot of people who have been diagnosed who are not taking treatment. About 1.1 million people. So we need to find them. When the minister talks about closing the gap, he wants to find people in that second 95, because that's where the issue of antiretroviral treatment is key, and people are not coming forward to get their treatment. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from Honorable Kaunda. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Your Excellency, Deputy President, while the US funding cuts to South Africa's HIV and AIDS programs have caused a significant challenge, we want to express our appreciation of the decisive intervention of our government to prevent a catastrophic impact of these abstract funding cuts. In pursuit of the National Democratic Revolution, as well as the implementation of the ANC manifesto to improve the life expectancy of our people, what measures is the government putting in place to safeguard programs such as the Advancing Clinical Therapeutics globally for HIV and AIDS and other infections, and the Division of AIDS within the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, which is part of the US National Institutes of Health, NIH. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Over to you, DP.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Mangbonge Mpatwe Dolop. You know what Mpatwe Dolopa is? is the mayor, executive mayor. Once a mayor, always a mayor. Mphathu wedolopha, you are quite right. He was very good. You are quite right. We are looking at various packages in discussion with other institutions. In fact, last week, Monday, in fact, this week, Monday, we had the South African AIDS Council, where we had a lot of researchers, academics, and everybody else, where we are looking at alternatives. How do we deal with this challenge now that the cuts are real? Yes, on the other hand, the minister is saying, I'm going to try and reprioritize programs there and there, talk to National Treasury, but as a collective of society, all of us were sitting there and say, what do we do? That conference was a conference of 3 days. I attended the first day with Deputy Minister of Health and others. There were international speakers and delegates. We will find a solution because the researchers are not looking only at the problem of funding, but whether we can get affordable drugs, whether that can be produced, so that if the cost of treatment is lowered, it means we can make do with our own resources without relying on other people. So we are busy doing that, and very soon the minister will come up with a report. The good news, though, honorable members, is that we have not reduced services in this regard. I did ask the minister, where are we? And he says, we're still providing services the way we were in all the districts, particularly the districts that are most affected. We are providing this service. So we just make sure, we must make sure that we don't drop the ball and regress. So we need to move fast to find alternatives that are going to help us stay the course. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.